Here we see the female hips. As you can clearly see, the male hips are more vertical and the female hips are wider to birth a child. Here we have a comparison between the female and male anatomy. Females have narrow shoulders, a hip indentation above the navel, proportionally smaller rib cages, fat distribution at the thighs, typically smaller feet, tiny necks that concave on the sides, proportionally smaller shoulders that are slanted, delicate female hands, smaller wrist and ankle joints, smaller knee and shoulder joints. The length from the hip to the knee is longer. The length from the shoulder to hip is shorter. The female on the far right has a widow's peak, where the hair comes to a point on the forehead. This is a predominantly female trait. Now, you are probably asking yourself, what? I never knew that there was so much differentiation between the genders other than what's down below the belt. And I am here to say that neither did countless other people until some real research was conducted into the post-pubescent transgendering process and truly discovering how hormones differentiate the sexes. We are going to take a look at the post-pubescent transgendering process, the power of hormones and surgery, and how important these gender differentiations become when trying to pass yourself off as one gender or the other. You may have thought this information was only important to transgendered people, but it is vital for you to understand as well. Here we have the before and after of a post-pubescent transgendered female. As you can tell, she looks dramatically more feminine on the right, and there are very specific reasons for this. She has only had a single surgery from the first picture to the second picture. She has had a forehead recontouring in which they shave down the brow ridge. In the picture on the right, you can see that her eyes are no longer set back in her skull, and that her forehead looks dramatically smoother without the brow ridge. In this single surgery, they brought down her hairline an inch and raised her brows to give more of a feminine arch. Do you see why it is important to understand the transgendering process yet? Here we have another post-pubescent transgendered female. She has had a forehead recontouring, rhinoplasty, chin and jaw recontouring, a lip lift, and an Adam's apple reduction. Again, she looks dramatically more female than she did before, and there are very specific reasons for this. This is the post-pubescent transgendered female from profile. What I want you to notice is that no matter how much jaw contouring you do, you cannot escape the straight back contour from the chin of the male jaw. This one still also has the classical sloping back forehead. As you can see, they could eliminate most of it, but it still remains. When you see a true biological female next to these plastic surgery creations, the stark contrast in facial characteristics just jumps out at you. Are you transvestigating yet? Can you see the differences between the left and the right? Do you need me to put them on the screen? This is how every transvestigator has started in their journey of truth on the actual gender differences. Is the checklist resonating in your head? Narrow cheekbones, pointed chin, oval face, straight up and down, forehead contour. Are you looking in the mirror? Do you appreciate your own natural-born female or male attributes? We are all born with various natural traits, and as I have demonstrated, these traits can all be in different proportions. If you are a female saying, "But wait, I have brow bossing," or "My forehead slants back," then I urge you to reconsider the list of over 20 attributes that are examined by transvestigators. You will find that you have the vast majority of your own natural-born gender's biological markers. Knowledge of the history of the elite gender inversion is necessary to understand how much is actually understood about this process of prepubescent transgendering by the elite themselves. The earliest form of gender inversion was in the form of eunuchs, and then later the famed castrati, whom were castrated in prepubescent to maintain the flexibility, range, and timbre of their voices. It is documented that the castration had several anomalous effects on the body, such as the bone joints not hardening, causing the limbs of the castrati to grow unusually long, and allowed the ribs to grow out larger than a normal singer's. The true nature of this type of castration is not known because, as demonstrated by the quote on the screen, the elite have kept secrets from us for far longer than we could ever know. In their time, these were the elite. These were the celebrities. So many were being castrated that only the elite of the elite made it to the opera stage, the others being sent to infiltrate the church. As we know, over time the accumulation of knowledge on a specific subject snowballs, and this particular knowledge of anatomical slice and dice has been going on since minimally 400 AD. Alessandro Moreschi was the last surviving, publicly lauded castrato, taking his last breath well into the 20th century. The practice of elite gender inversion, prepubescent transgendering, has always been a secret and has never ceased to exist. The stage has been set, but are you ready for the performance? I'm quite serious because this might be the most shocking moment that you have ever had in your life. No, I am not going to show you some hermaphrodite crotch and catfish you, but what I am going to do is quite a bit worse. Just prepare yourself for a paradigm switch, because what you have been sold by Hollywood is an inverted fantasy land designed to subvert your mind and your conception of what is truly beautiful in each gender. This documentary is called Elite Gender Inversion because you will soon realize that this type of transgendering is happening in every layer of elite society, from singers to athletes to actresses to princesses, and even, as you might have already heard, first ladies. One of, if not the most disgusting, vile, sick, and perverted aspects to this insanity is that this is happening vastly before a celebrity has even gone through puberty. This has been proven to be quite clear. Transvestigation is a science that is first technical and second visual. I will first explain each aspect of gender differentiation and then allow the pictures to speak for themselves,